Hello class and welcome to this Goonies 2 walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and Goonies 2 can be extremely confusing with both the front and back sides of its deceptively large map. Many of the areas look similar, and navigating the many rooms and finding all their secrets to find all the items and upgrades makes this game feel very overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing or where you're meant to go. Factoring in all the exploration, along with some, at times, very tricky platforming, I'm going to go ahead and give Goonies 2 a 7 out of 10. On the frustration scale, this equates to punching a hole in the wall, which is appropriate because we'll be punching a lot of walls in this game. But fear not though, this Goonies 2 walkthrough is designed to show you the most efficient route for collecting every single item and power-up this game has to offer. Blaze has an overview on all those items, by the way, and Fluff has a number of interesting facts and secrets about this game. So let's run the intro and get into this Goonies 2 walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. Alright, as we begin a new game here in Goonies 2, let's take a look at the controls for Goonies 2. Movement with the D-pad down the duck. You can hold up and press B for your secondary weapon, depending on what you have equipped. You can attack with the B button when you're in the menu with Start and you have your tool selected. You can hit B to get to the implements. Jump and swim with A, and we can pause outright with Select. First thing we're going to do is head to the right, stay up top, go into this door with Up, and collect the hammer. And Blaze, what does the hammer do?
Alright, the hammer, you can reveal things which punching can't, so use this on the walls, the ceiling, the floor sometimes. The professor will let you know when to use it.
Good call, and we popped in this door and got ourselves a key ring, Blaze.
Alright, the key ring, this gives you 2 more keys and increases your total key capacity by 2.
Alright, thank you, Blaze. We're going to head down and head all the way to the left now to get our next item. And while we're doing that, let's take a quick look at the Briggs notes. These are the keys in this Goonies 2 NES walkthrough for beating this game. First, obviously follow this guide for the most efficient route to 100% this game with all the items. Secondly, Konami Man to the rescue. We'll talk more about him a little bit later. And lastly, watch out for the knockback damage near pits, especially in the ice area. But pop into this door here and you get yourself a Slingshot, Blaze.
Alright, the Slingshot, a ranged weapon which goes in a straight line across the screen.
Alright, thanks, Blaze. We're going to stick with the yo-yo for now. We're going to go through this door which we skipped before, pick up a magic locator, and then go straight through the door to get to the back side of the map for the first time. But, Blaze, magic locator?
Alright, the magic locator. This shows the captive Goonies locations on the map marked with a dot.
Thank you, Blaze. Yeah, not necessary if you're following along with this Goonies 2 walkthrough here, but if you want to pull up your map, you will have that. So we're going to head down here and go into this door right here. Head to the right, and we're going to pull out our fist. Just hit, and then a box will appear right here, a firebox. If you go to the left, there is a safe. If you want to waste a key on it, you'll just get a little clue that says you'll get extra energy for saving Goonies. So, I could have told you that. You'll find that out yourself in just a moment. But, Blaze, the firebox?
Alright, the firebox increases your Molotov capacity by 5. These arc, and then they burn upon exploding on the ground. They also do damage as you throw them before they hit the ground as well. So keep that in mind.
Alright, thanks, Blaze. We're going to go past this door, which we came in to begin with. I want to save those Molotovs for a little bit later in the game. We don't need them in these early stages when the enemies aren't that bad. You see we're getting a little roughed up here. Our energy's a little low. But thanks to, we're about to rescue our first Goonie by heading all the way up here, and in the top right, the first Goonie is trapped. And when we rescue them, we'll get an extra life bar, and we'll get topped off as well. So just head inside here, go to the left, punch the wall, and we've got our first bomb box. Then head back to the right and use the hammer on this wall, go through the door, use a key. And while we're being guilted for taking a little too long to rescue this first Goonie, Blaze, the bomb box?
The bomb box increases your bomb capacity by 5. You can drop these bombs to create an explosion to hurt enemies, or reveal a couple of hidden secret passages, which the professor will show you.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Yes, we will. And while we're backtracking back through to the front of the house to get to the next section, let's bring in Fluff for our first Fluff fact about Goonies 2 for the NES.
You may be wondering why there's a Goonies 2 on the NES when there was no Goonies 1, let alone a sequel to the Goonies movie. The original Goonies game was released by Konami in 1986 for the Famicom. The game never saw a North American release on the NES, but it did appear in arcades on the Nintendo-made Versus arcade system under the name Versus the Goonies. And it was also one of the many games available on the multi-ROM cabinet PlayChoice 10. The gameplay is similar, but it more closely follows the plot of the film of the same name.
Thank you, Fluff. And by the way, you just beat on this old man for no reason. What do you do? Apparently I abuse elders in this Goonies 2 walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. But yeah, definitely didn't have nearly as much experience with that first game. I vaguely remember playing Goonies, the first Goonies, on a PlayChoice 10 at some point at this seafood restaurant, I think, that my extended family used to go to every year. It was out front with some crane games. Good memories. Anyway, pop in here, go to the right, push down here to enter the ice region. As I mentioned, this is very dangerous with the knockback in particular here. Everything is very slippery, and if you get hit, they will send you launching. This guy in particular is annoying. I just like to jump pretty much right on top of him, accept the damage. But anyway, we're gonna pop in here, go to the right, use our hammer on this back wall here, go through the door. We've rescued our second Goonie. That's why we can afford to sacrifice a little bit of health going aggressive and coming into this area, because we're gonna get it all back right there. He won't be here when you pop back out, so that's nice. He will warp in eventually, so if you take too much time, enemies will eventually start to come in. Same idea, we want to get as much distance, time this, so that we, see we're still getting knocked back a little bit there. Yeah, these Eskimos are very dangerous. They take multiple hits is the problem, so otherwise I would just go ahead and try to fight them there, but try to avoid the waterfalls as best as you can. We'll get an item a little bit later which will protect us from them. The scorpions take 3 hits as well, so a lot of times I just go ahead and avoid them altogether. You can reach into your bag of tricks, your Molotovs and things like that, but I prefer to conserve them for a little bit later in the game. By the way, we passed up another safe when we saved that last Goonie. Basically just another clue which said something along the lines of be careful with your boomerang on the bridge, which is a reference to something we'll mention once we get to it. Pop in this door and punch above the door this time. So much trial and error when we were playing this as kids, but you'll find the Transceiver. Not an essential item, but nonetheless, before we bring in Blaze to talk about the Transceiver, pop in this right room and punch this old woman 5 times. Not because she deserves it, but because on the 5th time, wait for it, that's 4, she will unaccountably reward us for beating the crap out of her with a candle. Just back out the way you came in. I find it surprising with all of Nintendo's censorship policies of the late 80s and early 90s, Nintendo of America, that they not only allowed but encouraged elder abuse in this game to get some items. But ride this platform over here, head inside, use your candle to light up the darkness, head up, and we get our first instance of Konami Man, the second of the Briggs notes. He'll top off your health. Head to the right, use the candle, punch the wall, get another key holder. We're gonna back out same way we came in. And Blaze, what can you tell us about that Transceiver first?
Alright, the Transceiver, you can use this to receive clues from other Goonies and Konami characters like Simon Belmont. Use this in different rooms for a number of surprises.
Alright, thanks Blaze, and I guess we just demonstrated what the candle does. Just pull that out when the room is pitch black. But pass back through the front to get to the front area of this section. I'm going to head down this vine and head to the left here. The Konami Man location, it's always accessible via a floating platform like the one we're on here. That first one they showed us, that was a game they actually showed the door, but in future Konami Man locations, he's more well hidden, so pop in here and cut through to get to a different section in the ice area. But yeah, it pays to press up when you're on those floating platforms. You don't have to do it indiscriminately. We'll show you all the locations of Konami Man, but yeah, he's a game changer when you find him at just the right time. See here, we're generally just avoiding most of the enemies. A lot of them take multiple hits, so you'll probably take more damage trying to fight them outright than if you just run by them and just take that hit. Use your candle, head up here, use your hammer against this back wall. This will reveal a safe, which we actually do want to use a key on to get a pair of glasses. We're going to head to the right now to get a boomerang as well in this relatively profitable area. Head up here and you'll find an Eskimo, saying there's nothing here. And while we backtrack with our new items, Fluff, I'm told you have some interesting information about this Eskimo.
North American players might not think anything when they find an Eskimo in an empty room who self-identifies as such. In the Japanese version, his remark translates to, "I am an Eskimo. You didn't call for me? Oops, my mistake." This is a reference to a line which Japanese comedian and entertainer Hitoshi Ueki said on a Japanese comedy variety show from the 60s called Shaban Dama Holiday, when he accidentally appeared in a sketch he had no part in. Realizing his mistake amongst everyone's confusion, he said, "Oh, you didn't call for me? Oops, my mistake," before walking off. A spontaneous moment which had the audience laughing so hard that it became a regular gag for the show's 11-year run, which stuck with the developers to the point that they referenced it in this scene.
How about that? Thank you very much, Fluff. That's a deep cut by now. I'm going to pop in this door. Very obscure reference these days, but light up this room. Use your glasses. We'll have Blaze talk about that in just a second, but we've got ourselves a helmet. Grab the helmet. This automatically equips. And we got some items to cover as we're heading straight left to right in this section. But Blaze, glasses?
Alright, the glasses. Use these to reveal hidden things you wouldn't otherwise be able to see in different rooms.
Yeah, just make sure when you're in the tools section you hit B to switch over to the implements. See, the transceiver was next to it in the inventory. And the helmet, Blaze?
Alright, the helmet. This protects you from falling objects.
See, those stalactites that we had before will no longer do any damage to us. This is the first instance of a hidden Konami Man. Right here where the waterfall would be, press up. Get your health topped off. Make sure you hold left when you leave, otherwise you'll fall in the pit. Very clutch. Certainly sometimes more than others, but now we are going to ride this thing over to the right. Sometimes you want to let the enemy spawn in, see what you're dealing with. In the case of that one, the spider just pops away. I think we can just drop down and get in here before the scorpion hits us. Now we just cut right through, back in an orange area here. We have the bridge section coming up. We had that note that I told you about in the safe we didn't open, but it was warning us to be careful with our boomerang on the bridge. We'll talk about that, but first, we're going to switch to our bombs and head over here, right in that column, drop one right there. You get a hidden area and grab a very valuable item in the hyper shoes. Blaze?
At the hyper shoes. This doubles your movement speed whether you're running, jumping, or climbing. Excellent, excellent item. Always have these equipped 98% of the time once you get them.
Does make getting around a lot easier. So you see these gray skulls that are following us around, kind of floating up and down. They're the ones that if they touch us, they will get our boomerang. So I would rather take some damage than have to lose my boomerang and go back and have to retrieve it. So that's why we just did that. Prioritized taking more damage. Don't worry, we have a Konami Man just around the corner here on this screen. So just try to survive and make your way all the way over to the right. First, we're going to pop into this door. There's another hint here. This time it says as we get another magic locator, one for the next Goonie, but it says the diving suit is in a green cavern. So, whatever that's worth. We'll show you where it is, but anyway. Yeah, watch out for these enemies here. 3 hits will take down the scorpion, and it's all the way to the right on this platform right here. So just keep tapping up just in time before we took that damage. Literally a lifesaver here at Konami Man in this case. There's no point in going in that bottom door, just an old woman asking you if you have a couple items that you don't have yet. You don't need to go back there once you do have the items. Just another hint that certain things are coming later on in the game. Looks like an empty room here. Let's bust out our hammer, hit this back wall, go through a couple doors, get into the next section here. Head to the left here. We're going to enter this door on the bottom to get ourselves some more Molotovs. Head through this door and punch the wall, and of course, firebox drops out here, so we have 4 more Molotovs to our count. Now you can go down or up. We're going to head up first. If you're a little low on health at this point, we have another Goonie coming up, so we'll get you a top off in just a moment. We have some more keys to pick up here, with some revealing work to do first. Head to the right, use your hammer against this back wall here, go through the door and just punch this wall here to add 2 more keys to your key ring. If you go through that right door on your way out, it just takes you to a section which just keeps repeating basically until you back out to the left, so nothing else going on there. Once we exit out, we're going to head all the way to the left here. Water's still a problem at this stage of the game. We'll get an item before too long, which will protect us from the water, but use your glasses in this room, and we have our 3rd Goonie right here. Use your key to rescue them. There's 2 safes in this area as well, one with the message, Konami Man will be near a moving rock, and another which asks, you met a testy lady who might help you? I guess we're supposed to glean from that we're meant to just beat up an old lady, I don't know, but wouldn't be my first thought. So now we're just going to back out the way we came in, and remember when I said we could go up or down, we're going to head down here, back to the left, where we can head further down to the final section of this stretch, where we're going to finally grab the diving gear in this green cavern section, use the hammer against this wall, pass through, use the glasses to find a safe, unlock it with a key, and we have our diving gear. Blaze?
Alright, the diving gear allows you to access the water holes you will come across in the different passages in this game.
Good luck, Blaze. We'll be using that before too long. We're going to head to the right now and drop down, go through this door. We'll find another bomb box if we punch above this door here, doubling our bombs. There's also a safe in that area that says there's a secret door behind the falls, which is the Konami Man location, which we already checked out, for what it's worth. We have one last item to get in this section. Use the hammer against this back wall to find a safe, unlock this safe. We got ourselves another item, the waterproof coat, the raincoat. Blaze?
Alright, the raincoat. This protects you from waterfalls and geysers.
Thank you, Blaze. Just a passive item right there, like the helmet. You don't have to equip it or anything. So we're a little bit safer from the elements now, as we have a whole lot of backtracking to do. Just going back the way we came when we initially came into this section here. You can see the geysers no longer hurting us. So that's good, as we're using our diagonal boomerang right there. And pop back in and cut through here, just backtracking to where we can actually use our diving gear, which means going across that bridge again, so be very careful when you're crossing that so you don't lose that boomerang like we showed before. I'm going to go ahead and stop off at this Konami Man, which we already hit. Speaking of hitting Konami Man, let's bring in Fluff for some facts about Konami Man. Fluff?
Konami Man is Konami's mascot character and has appeared in dozens of Konami games between his debut in 1984's Road Fighter to today. According to the lore, Konami Man is an android superhero who was created by Dr. Cinnamon, a character from the Twin B series. He typically makes small Easter egg appearances in Konami games, and was even given his own starring role in 1988's Famicom Konami YY World. One more fact about Konami Man, don't punch him here in Goonies 2 or he won't give you any more health boosts.
Very critical as we are threading the needle here. The hyper shoes definitely help for putting some space between yourself and these skulls here. It's all about hitting that ladder down the vine just right so you don't waste time. We missed it the first time when we were actually heading down in that area, so we had to play with the enemy a little bit. Those skulls, just make this jump here with those shoes. Fortunately, health is never too far between. There's always a Konami Man, like right here. We can stop off and top off our health once again, assuming we haven't offended him by punching him in the face. Again, make sure you hold left when you leave so you don't fall in that pit. Yeah, between him and the Goonies we rescue, they're the ones that are keeping us alive. Sometimes it gets a little close, gets a little hairy, but with that in mind, you can generally stick to that. Rather than standing your ground and fighting any of these enemies, just kind of running through, dodging as much as possible. We'll fight a little bit more in the final few sections, use more of our Molotovs, maybe our bombs every now and then, but I'm gonna pop in here and cut through to go to the ice area. There's gonna be some water, which we could not access until we had the diving suit, so now that we have it, we'll be able to get to the relatively rare water levels in this game. Once you do it, hit B on the tools menu to get the implements, get that diving suit out, drop a bomb right here as soon as you come in for a hidden surprise. How about that? Extra life, just like that. Thanks, man. Be very careful with the bottom of the screen. That's an instant death. If you fall through it, we can go through this pipe right here to access the next area, but yeah, make sure you're kicking. There's a difficult section a little bit later on where the ceiling is very low, so very dangerous, but cut to the left here, punch the wall, grab yourself a bomb box to now have 15 bombs. Punch right here for the ladder, which we're going to use after we hammer through the ceiling to the right here. Probably the most valuable little stretch of rooms in the entire game right here, but Blaze, the ladder?
Alright, the ladder. This allows you to climb through holes in the floor and ceiling to access new areas.
This includes getting our fourth Goonie. 2 minutes late. Alright then. This is literally as fast as you can play this game for the most part. I'm not claiming any speedrun records or anything, but I'm just saying this is the efficient way to do it, so ease up, other Goonies. As we don our diving suit again, and head back through that top pipe and head to the right this time. Feels very Super Mario Brothers inspired right here, the water levels. Suppose that's inevitable, given the impact that game had on platforming in general. So you pop through this door, just punch that wall right there, and then cut through. Use your diving suit to access a different water level area. Take this first pipe down. Head over to the left. And then right through here, door to the left, we get the jumping shoes, the spring shoes. I don't need them. Alright, he's honest. Blaze?
Alright, the spring shoes just allows you to jump higher.
Thanks, Blaze. Pretty straightforward. Reminds me of those Warrior Acts and Magician, a game we did a recent class on, just giving you $500 for nothing and saying, I'm done with this macho stuff. Sharks have kind of a Jaws vibe. There's more to the right, but nothing that we need to do. There's no items or anything. It's literally just one room, which has a hint safe, which says that bombs will reveal certain doors, essentially. So we've already figured that out for ourselves in this area specifically, actually. So we're just going to backtrack all the way back to the left, go through this door. So we probably, unfortunately, have about the most backtracking we have to do in the entire game. Be nice if there was some sort of fast travel system, but not in this game. So yeah, we need to get back to what was essentially the first area of the game in that basement and travel to an area which has an area where we can use our ladder to progress to the next area to save the next Goonie. So while we're backtracking here, being very careful around the ice, we're going to bring in Fluff for some Fluff facts now about the film Goonies instead. Fluff?
We've talked a lot about the game. Now let's share a few interesting facts about the 1985 film The Goonies as well. The Goonies director Richard Donner actually had a full-size pirate ship constructed for the film. When they finished filming, the ship was purportedly offered to anyone who wanted it, but with no takers, they ultimately scrapped it. Speaking of the ship, Donner didn't allow the cast to see it until they were filming the scene when the Goonies discover it in order to ensure that their reactions would be genuine. Reportedly, Josh Brolin was so surprised that he exclaimed, "Holy SHIT!" and the scene had to be reshot. Speaking of holy SHIT, Ke Huy Quan exclaims that exact expression in the film, spelling out the letters because his mother made him promise not to swear during the movie. Lastly, Sean Astin was allowed to keep the treasure map, which played a big part in the film. Years later, his mother discovered it and, figuring it was just a piece of trash, she threw it away. I bet I can guess what expression he shouted when he found out, Professor.
Yeah, he was probably pretty bummed. His mother was actually Academy Award-winning actress Patty Duke. Little extra fact right there. These Fratelli brothers, you can't kill them, but you can knock them down and then just use that opportunity to sneak by them. As we go through this door, transition through, climb up here and head to the left, all the way to the left and up, and we can finally use our ladder right here to access an area which we could not before. So go through to the left here, hammer the ceiling, and now we can have a spot for our ladder which we can climb up. Alright, we're starting to get into the very dangerous areas of this game in terms of enemies. The best strategy here is just to run through as quickly as possible before they have a chance to warp in. There's another hidden Konami Man. You enter right there on that left platform when it's all the way to the right. Probably didn't need to stop in, actually. Might take more damage on lava. And possibly dragons. Well, the dragons, I guess, are coming up. We haven't seen any of those yet. Let's just reset the screen by climbing up there and continuing over to the left here. The dragons are the ones you want to avoid. They take a lot of hits. If they hit you, they will do a full meter of damage to you, so want to avoid them at all costs. Might want to break in your Molotovs a little bit here, your bombs. Molotovs are a little easier to use as we duck in here, hammer the ceiling, and climb this ladder to get our 5th Goonie right here. Unlock the cage. There we go. I appreciate the Goonies that don't criticize our amount of time we took to rescue them, or just complain in general. We're the only one doing anything here, Mikey. See how you can hold up and hit B to throw one of those? Very effective against the dragons. We do have a limited number of those. We have a couple more upgrades when it comes to the fireboxes, so here we're just avoiding them, moving quickly before they have a chance. Make sure you have your hyper shoes on there, or you can use the spring shoes to jump up and above, so you don't have to try to make that jump, but either way, be careful there. And so before we head through the back door to warp ahead here, we can go to the right and meet the ambassador of Konami, who's reminding us of our mission. Speaking of which, let's put up the trope list. That's about all we've been doing is rescuing Goonies. We gotta save Annie the Mermaid as well. I'm told Fluff has a fact about the music we're hearing right here. Fluff?
If you're a big fan of the Goonies, then you'll probably recognize the music which plays in certain parts of the map as being a chiptune adaptation of Cyndi Lauper's The Goonies Are Good Enough, which was the theme song for the Goonies film. I have to say, this is one of the best chiptune adaptations of a real song on the NES. Certainly much better than the attempt at chiptunifying Huey Lewis and the News' The Power of Love for the NES adaptation of Back to the Future, which was sped up and barely resembled that song.
Thank you, Fluff. This area's a little weird. You gotta back up, go left, up, punch the wall to get that upgrade, and then back, right, put on the glasses to get back where you came from, and then exit out that way. So, a little tricky, but that's how you navigate that area. We're kind of in the home stretch here. Don't have too much more to do in this game. Got one last Goonie to save. Gotta save Annie as well, of course. Just too much going on in this room. Guys take a lot of hits. That's a good time to remind you that there are item drops if you kill enemies. You can get some keys and half a heart. Those little hearts refill half of your 1 meter of health. So not really worth the time in stopping off and actually fighting enemies, because again, generally you'll find you'll take more damage by fighting enemies than just running away from them, just taking the hit and moving on, but it's your prerogative. But when you got enemies that are doing a full meter of health per hit, we can use our spring shoes for the first time here. And immediately take them off and go back to our hyper shoes. Use your glasses here to reveal the hidden door and move forward. See, it looks like we're nowhere near the Goonie based on our map right there with the locator. But we'll be warping over there. Seems farther than it actually ends up being. Yeah, we're getting into the final stretch of this game here, so if you do want to use a few more of these items, your explosives, drop a bomb to get the enemy to walk into it. Just, yeah, note that the fire can hurt you as well. Suppose I appreciate that realism. Don't even have to wait for a platform. We got our spring shoes, or our hyper shoes, I should say, rocking here. Light up the room, move forward, then hammer the floor here this time. Use our ladder to drop down below. Punch the wall here, and we're going to get the penultimate firebox. We topped off on bombs a while ago, but we still haven't gotten the last of our Molotovs, so this will top us off, so we have a fresh 15 to use here. Definitely go to town with them on any enemies that get in your way. If you're hurt at all at this stage, there is one final Konami Man we can access over here. There's a door which doesn't do anything for us, but just below that door, on a platform, right here, yeah, that door is a dead end, nothing going on in there. Try as you might. But yeah, just push up right here at the very edge. Thankfully, they're generous when you leave with that platform being right there for you, so you don't fall to your death. Take out this guy and cut back through here. Should mention when you come out, there's a door to the right, which has the hyper shoes. So if you didn't pick them up earlier in that hidden area, which we showed you, that you can grab them right there, but seeing as we already have them, showed you how to get them before. We're gonna head to the left. Gonna head all the way. When you see ghosts targeting you like that, quickly move in the opposite direction to ensure that they don't hit you, and then you can just throw your whatever weapon you're rocking at the time and take them out that way, but that's how you avoid taking damage. Got the bomb pickup as another one, which randomly and spontaneously is left behind by certain enemies every now and then. Being a little more liberal with our Molotovs at this stage in the game, plus we got one more top off coming up here. I like to just let these knights dive at you once they're out of the way. Make your move. Got our final Goonie to rescue, essentially through this door, through a bit of water first. Hammer the floor, use your ladder, drop down, don your diving gear. And this is that low ceiling that I was talking about earlier. Gotta be very careful, make sure you're tapping A as soon as you get around that ledge right there. Sometimes when you fire, it kind of forces you to stop kicking for a second, so you might want to prioritize just tapping A in that situation to ensure you don't drop down, as that will count as a death. But cut through this door here, and we've rescued our final Goonie. We are great. You're great, class. Let's head back out in our diving suit and retrace our steps, being careful once again at that low ceiling. Note that there's a lot of momentum as you're dropping down too, so you want to kind of slow that down with a couple kicks before you get to that lower portion of the screen. We're just backtracking here, using our ladder to go up and back out this way. Grab ourselves the final unique item of this game, which we don't have yet. It's bait this guy into going left here and use our hyper shoe. Well, I'll just jump over him. That works too. We're going to climb up this time. Switch to our spring shoes just to give ourselves the height to make that jump right there. Nothing over there to the right, just a dead end. And this area looks like a dead end, but if we climb up right here and drop a bomb right on that kind of crate, hidden door appears. And we got ourselves an extra life. There you go. Still working on our no-death run here in Goonies 2. And this is where we'll find a very useful item, the final unique item. Gonna hammer the ceiling in this case to find ourselves a hidden safe. Use that ladder, a very hidden safe. We gotta use our glasses to reveal it actually. Just use your glasses there, use one of your keys, and you'll automatically equip the bulletproof vest, Blaze.
The bulletproof vest halves all damage taken. A very important item. Only wish we could have gotten this a little bit earlier in the game.
It's always how it goes, isn't it? You get the most useful items super late in the game. Legend of Zelda. Get that best armor when you're in Ganon's tower at that point. Speaking of which, the two games share a lot of sound effects. You'll hear a lot of the, like the item appearing sounds. That kind of chime. When something hidden reveals itself. Straight out of that game. At this point, we just have one final stretch of backtracking. Be a good subtitle for this game, actually. Goonies 2, Backtrack. A lot of it in this game. But it helps to pad it out, I suppose. And if it's your first time playing it, or you're not familiar with where anything is, then it does encourage exploring, so... I realize I'm just trying to suck the fun out of this game, so I apologize, class, but... We are close now. Only Annie left to save. In terms of items, I think we just have the one firebox left to get to max out our Molotovs, so... Given that we have that coming up, do not hold back. Okay, you can't rescue Annie until you've saved all the Goonies, so... Back in Dragonland here. Using those hyper shoes. Just make sure you're always pushing back if you're at a ledge when they're about to hit you. You can see thanks to the bulletproof vest, it's dragon proof as well. Not totally dragon proof, they're still doing some damage to us, but half the damage we were taking before. Good thing about cutting back this way is that we do have access to this Konami Man, which is much more valuable to us this time than it was the first time we were coming through here. It's actually on that left platform, more on the right side. Push up right there. This should patch us up just enough so that we can reach Annie. Get through the remaining enemies of this game. Get a quick here so we can beat the spawn in. Boomerang works nice, or any weapon works nice, for stunning enemies for a second too in the case of those dragons, before they can get a shot of fire off at you. Or just try to run into you. They both do the same amount of damage. Knock through the floor again. Cut down. Go to the right. We're very close to the start of the game now, which is basically where we're trying to get to. We're going through that first door that we went in where we got our first keyring upgrade. So we'll go back to the front of the house here. Climb up this ladder over here. Might have been the second door that we came in actually, but regardless, we never bothered to mess with that safe before. It just says use the magical locator to find Goonies essentially. We can use our ladder now, which we could not before, and into the final section of the house here. The only thing we really need to grab is the final upgrade for our Molotovs at this point. It's not too far from here, actually. Climb up this ladder and head down to the right. And I have to go this way, go down and around. warp through and go to the left here. And here we're going to use our glasses to reveal a hole in the floor this time. Pop down and get the final firebox. We now have our maxed out Molotovs and bombs. Don't even have to bother lighting up that room, just go down there. And we just have a couple cut-through sections left in this game. A couple doors we skipped in that last area before we veered off to get the fire bombs. It's just more people giving you actually useless information, saying older people saying they forgot their glasses and things like that. Not sure what that's about, but yeah, just a couple portals at this point, basically. Switch in between the appropriate footwear. And take this top door here. Bottom door would have another person complaining about losing their glasses, but here we light up the room. Create a door in the back by smacking it with a hammer. A perfectly formed door, by the way. That's been happening all game, but we're finally calling it out. Just another tiny little portal section here where we'll have to don our diving gear one last time. Because Annie's a mermaid. She lives underwater, so she's being held underwater as well. Just come straight down here, open this door. And you need one key at this point. Hopefully you have a key. Go back and, I don't know, just attack some enemies until you get a key if you don't, but there you go. There's Annie. Kind of strategically covering her chest there. You can beat up old people, but Nintendo's censors draw the line at exposed, bare mermaid breasts, I suppose. But there you go. Annie was rescued. We're gonna have like a splash type situation. I want to live in this world where everyone's just chill about a mermaid and they don't immediately want to do experiments on her, but yeah, it's a bummer we never get like a proper boss fight or anything. There's no boss fights of any variety in this game. Didn't get to see Gary today, but there you go. Just lock up the Fratellis. Good game. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so to enroll in these classes. By the way, we do one of these classes every single week in the same spot. We'd love to have you enrolled. Click that like button if you don't mind as well. It really does help us out for making future classes. And leave a comment. What do you think of this game? Did you ever make much progress given what a maze it is? But that's our time for this week. We'll see you next week in the same spot for next week's class right here on Video Games 101. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.